Hello, welcome to another in our series on impact weapons from knuckledusterbook.com. Today we're going to talk about leather saps, specifically the ones made by the Bucheimer leather company. They were a holster maker out of Frederick, Maryland, and they are probably the best known of all the companies that made saps for police officers and security and railroad police and a number of other applications, I'm sure. And they made a tremendous product. Their holsters are really well made. Their saps are really well made. And today I think we'll just focus on the ones that I have. As far as Bucheimer saps goes, there was usually 5 models that were sold in the catalogs. The largest was one called Big John, and it looked like a big paddle. I do not have one of those. They're fairly rare, and I think because they were a little bit unwieldy. They were heavy, and I don't know that it would even fit into a regulation sap pocket on a police officer's uniform, dress pants or whatever. So the ones I'm focusing on today are the most common, the 4 most common. The first is probably the best known of all the Bucheimer saps, and it is the Texan. It's a large sap, and aside from the Big John sap was the largest that Bucheimer offered. Fit very well into an officer's sap pocket, nice and flat. The broad head but the narrow waist made it a good combination for striking, but also for retention as well. The flat would cause extensive damage, as in for pain. If you were hit on the arm or on a joint, you could pretty much deaden that limb. Of course, it probably had quite serious results if a headshot was taken. And the edge was, in all saps, the edge is a significant striking surface as well. It can abrade the skin, cause deep cuts and wounds, and of course has all that weight behind it. It really concentrates the force of the blow. So depending on what was needed, whether it was just to get somebody's attention or to actually knock them out, there was a number of ways to use the Texan, and again, all saps. There's again a lead patty in the head, and the body has a piece of flat spring steel in it to give it a good whippy motion. Many different qualities of Texans that I've seen, just because there were so many made, and of course different people, different grades of leather over time. So an interesting fact about the Texan, Elvis Presley carried one, really liked it, felt that it was a great self-protection item, and he was right. So from the Texan we move on to the Junior, which was probably second in popularity to the Texan. It's a great design, including the flare at the base, just again for retention. It really gives it somewhat of a club-like feel that it's not gonna slip out of your hands. Again, leather strap for going over the fingers, and also for hooking to get out of the pocket. You can actually, when it's in the pocket, you can hook it and pull it out and be ready to go. Again, the edges on this one are same as the Texan. It would cause quite significant damage from a blow. It's a little lighter than the Texan. The Texan is 12.2 ounces, and it's about 11 inches in length if you don't include the strap overhang. The Junior's a little bit lighter and is a little more concealable. It fits well into an inside pocket. They're perfect for an undercover person to sneak in anywhere they need it to go. Lots of Juniors around. They vary slightly in shape and form, but yeah, there's been lots of them around. I've seen quite a few. Not so popular, again, this is a supposition because I haven't seen very many of them, is the Bucheimer Denver. You know, and there's been speculation, and I've heard different things about how these got their names. Who knows? Nobody at Tandy, who owns Bucheimer, has returned my emails, so don't really know. Very similar to the Junior, except it's lacking the flare at the base. What really strikes me as significant, and I don't know if this is with all Denvers, is it's 2-ply that's stretched over the patty, so it's got a very narrow edge, whereas in comparison to the Junior, has a very significant wide edge. This Junior has 4-ply. The Texan I started off with was 3-ply, so I would say this is a 2-ply, and it's stretched over and very springy as well. You got your steel in there. You can actually feel it at the base. It's got the stitching goes all the way around, but terminates and then is pinned in place. The strap, which is kind of a flimsy leather, but and it's hard to find these in good shape. So this is a pretty good one. But yeah, the Denver's okay. It's again flat, which might be great if you needed to. You know, you didn't like that bulky, thick profile of one of the other Saps. And if you can lay your hands on one, I would definitely do so. The next one is the smallest of all the Buchheimers, and it's the Midget. So, nice little handy fit in the back pocket or sap pocket or inner pocket or thigh pocket. These go absolutely anywhere. Again, like the Junior, very thin. This one's a 2-ply, and it's got the strap pull out and retain. There's the Midget. And the Midget itself is, again, it's not a huge sap. It's only 6.5 inches, and you know, so it's about half the length of the Texan, but it weighs a hefty 9.3 grams. Very solid unit. So that's the 4 Saps that that Bucheimer offers, and that's what you're going to see the most of. This is a not a Sap, and really not a blackjack. If a Sap has to have a flat spring, then this ain't it. It's got a coil spring and lead shot at the end. Very unique style. The penna. This is a Bucheimer penna. It's been copied by numerous companies. It's really neat. It's basically been wrapped in the leather, and you have this one seam that goes along. And it would be quite a nasty one for cutting. And it's got a unique loop retention system that slides. Very popular. I understand that the pennas, they made them for the RCMP, not Bucheimer. RCMP used a local leather maker in Canada, I'm sure. But yeah, the penna is interesting because again, it's not altogether like a typical blackjack, which is often braided. Some are wrapped now, but this was kind of the bridge between the sap and the coil spring blackjack, which we will talk about another time. Just for your information, there are makers out there who are reproducing excellent quality copies of the Bucheimer Saps. D3 Protection makes an outstanding copy of just about all of them, plus a number of more of styles. Smith & Wesson style, and some unique styles as well. I understand Todd Foster out of, I believe it's North Carolina, also produces some great saps. I've owned a number of his over the years, and the quality is excellent. And compared to what it would cost, say, for a custom knife or even a custom sheath for that knife, you can get a custom sap in the Bucheimer style for under $100. Tooled, beautiful leather, just fantastic. So it's well worth picking up and very usable as well, and they'll probably last a lifetime. But if you happen to across a nice Bucheimer sap, I encourage you to pick it up, purchase it when you're able, and enjoy. The sap is a phenomenal self-defense weapon, and again, I think we're going to see a resurgence of it. So thanks again. See you next time.